Hi, I'm Midge Ure. Thanks for watching Music News, and subscribe here.
Midge Ure, great to meet you.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
Good, yeah, busy. It's good.
Yeah, you're halfway through your Breathe tour. How's that all progressing?
Yeah, it's great. I have to say it's been fun. I mean, the Breathe Again thing is looking at an album I did 20 years ago, the Breathe album, and performing it in its entirety for the first time. So I do this entire album with a couple of multi-instrumentalist musicians because it's a very organic sounding record. It's accordions and violin and stuff like that. And we've done half the tour already, and we pick it up again the other side of summer, so right through the autumn up to Christmas.
Yeah, no, can't wait. We're going to catch you on that section. But the last time we saw you, actually, you were playing acoustic at the Isle of Wight in 2010.
Right.
Fantastic sets, great stories. Is that sort of the best part of the job for you, playing live?
Well, you know, I think it's when you're doing that acoustic thing and it's just you on stage, people like to hear where the songs came from or what you did that day, or, you know, stuff. And it's because there's an intimacy about it, you know. People are sitting right in front of you, and you can see the whites of their eyes, and they can see you make all your mistakes, you know. And that's all part of it. It's the antithesis of going to stand in a field and watch someone who's half a mile away on a big screen. You know, it's as close as you can get, that intimacy, and I think it's all part of it.
Yeah, nowhere to hide, do you?
No, not at all. And it's a good thing to do. It's a scary thing to do. Yeah. But if you can do that in front of, you know, 300-400 people, whatever, in a small venue, and do it all on your own, people remember that because you're not hiding behind anything. Yeah,
no, man, it shines your prolific music as well. And I mean, next year you're going to be joining the 80s Invasion tour with Nick Hayward, Curiosity Killed the Cat, Big Country. Yep. Is that going to be a big party?
Well, I think every night's going to be a big party. I mean, you know, Big Country are old friends of mine. You know, I've worked with a couple of the guys musically in the past.
Yeah.
You know, they're a guitar band. I get to put my electric guitar on for a change and make some noise. It'll be good fun. Those shows, those 80s festival type shows, you're not there to educate the audience. You're not there to say, and here's a track from my new album that you haven't heard yet. It's all about the hits. You go on there and you perform the hits, and because this is a guitar-oriented one, I'm really looking forward to it. You know, a lot of loud noise. Hey, they're good.
Great. I mean, who were the best bands of the 80s for you then, personally?
Ultravox. Who were the best bands? You know what? The 80s was the early 80s so ridiculously diverse. You had a lot of bands that the media at the time kind of tarred with the same brush because we used the same instruments. So any band with a synthesizer that's it, you know, a fair target. So you had Japan, you know, who made music totally different from Heaven 17, who made music totally different from Depeche Mode, who made music totally different from Ultravox, you know. So it was I think it wasn't just about the bands, it was about the songwriting. The songwriting in that particular era was exceptional. Really good songs, and that's why they're still played today. That's why you still hear them, you know, on the radio and on the internet, and, you know, in commercials and in movies and whatever. It was a really good period for the writer.
Yeah. I mean, you yourself had a long and varied career. The Rich Kids, Thin Lizzy, Visage, Ultravox, obviously, and Band Aid. You know, spanning punk, electronic, and rock. What was the most enjoyable for you?
Oh, I have to say, I think the moment I joined Ultravox, because we had no money and no future and no record company and no management, and we had to pull whatever money we had in our pockets together to pay for a rehearsal room, to do our first ever rehearsal, to walk in and make a noise. And the moment we fired up and made a noise, it was the most glorious thing I'd ever heard. It was just grand and big and full, and this mixture of electronics and traditional rock instruments was great. So I'd finally come home. I'd finally found what it was I was looking for. A bit like Glenn Miller in the Glenn Miller movie. When he finds his sound, I found my home.
Excellent. I mean, you had a good relationship with Phil Lynott. I mean, did he teach you almost what not to do in the business?
He taught me, he taught me what to do. There was a moment we were in Japan, and I was touring. They were trying out for a new guitarist. I was never the permanent guitar replacement for Gary Moore. So I was already deeply embroiled in Ultravox, but I did this tour of Japan while they tried out a new guitarist, and Phil, we went to the sound check at one of these venues, and Phil was furious because there were meant to be 2 lighting trusses above the stage, and there was only 1. And he said to the promoter, "What's going on here?" He said, "Oh, we can only get 1 truss." He said, "That's it, I'm off, I'm getting back in the plane now." And he stormed out, and he went, "Midge, come on." And he stormed out, and we got in the car, and I said, "Phil, are you okay?" He said, "That truss will be there in an hour, just watch." And it was all an act. So, and we got back to the sound check an hour later, and there was the other lighting truss. It was just a promoter trying to save some money. So I learned how to do certain things.
Play the game.
Yeah.
I mean, you were also very close to Steve Strange. Why exactly was he such an important figure at the time for bands and the scene in general?
I think Steve was exactly what he came across as. Steve was kind of the 80s peacock. Steve symbolised the opulence, the look of the late 70s, early 80s, when kind of anything went. He wasn't a great songwriter, and he wasn't a great singer, but he was something magical, and everyone knew him. He was connected to just about everyone. Because of the Blitz and because of the door policy and not letting certain people in because they didn't dress properly or whatever it was. He was a character, from that period, and an important character, because Visage would never have been Visage as we know it without Steve and the makeup and the hair and the videos and the imagery and all of that stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, and was it difficult writing your autobiography? Confronting alcoholism, for example.
Yeah, I think you don't think it's going to be difficult because your ego has been rubbed that someone's asked you to do it. They think your life's important enough to write a book about. And of course, once you get embroiled in it, you realise that you have to be very careful that you don't upset a lot of people, because your recollections are sometimes different from everybody else's recollections, and it's only from your perspective. So you could see things that happened a certain way, and 50 other people in the room see it completely different from you. So you become aware that you're not just you're wearing your heart on your sleeve, you're exposing everything, and you have to be careful you expose what you want to expose about yourself. And I was brutally honest about myself, including the alcoholism thing. But I was very careful about not upsetting other people, because your situations change, and incidents change in your head. They grow, they expand, they get funnier, they get more outrageous, and you've got to curtail that and make sure that what you're saying is your truth.
Did you upset anyone?
I don't think so. I hope not. I mean, they haven't. Nobody's punched me in the nose yet, but maybe it's still coming.
What do you think is the best song you've ever written?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's probably something that hardcore fans probably wouldn't know. Would know. Sorry, hardcore fans would know, and only hardcore fans would know. They don't tend to be the commercial successes. They tend to be too interesting, or too long, or too dark, or too moody, or whatever. And they tend to be the best songs, because you've created something that you are, and only you are, absolutely happy with, and that doesn't always mean that it's a single.
When did you first pick up a guitar, or get into music, as it were? Then?
I got into music long before I had a guitar. I grew up in a tenement slum in Glasgow, and the radio was my musical lifeline. We didn't have any instruments, so I was listening to the radio and singing along with the radio long before I got anywhere near a guitar. But I got a guitar when I was 10, and then started teaching myself. I still have the guitar today, which is quite something.
Did you ever call it a name?
No, it was my guitar, and it was already ancient when I got it. It was an old dance band guitar, so it was actually quite a good guitar. Unlike most people's first guitars, they're totally unplayable. This was very playable.
Excellent. Are there any other sort of projects that you're working on at the moment that you'd like to tell us about?
Well, I'm again, all of this is touring. I'm touring again, the Breathe Again tour right through until the end of the year, and then almost straight into the 80s tour with Big Country, whatever. I've got to get myself back in the studio. There was a 12-year gap between my previous solo album and my latest solo album, Fragile, and I don't want to leave another 12 years before I do something else. That's pushing it a bit, I think. So I've got to get back in the studio and carry on writing. I've got the writing bit between my teeth right now, so I'm excited about doing that.
Great. And any song titles that you could mention?
Song titles are the last thing you do. You write the song first, and then you look at it again and you think, well, that could be a good title for the album, or that's obviously called whatever it is. I'm not a songwriter like anybody else I know. I write the songs as I'm creating the track, as I'm creating the music. So the songwriting and the production is all one process to me. I don't write the songs first, then go and produce it. It's all one big manipulative thing.
Together.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, great stuff. I know you're a very keen cook as well. Did well on MasterChef. Honestly, how often do you cook at home?
I cook a lot at home, but I don't cook fancy foods at home. I cook for the family, just simply because I'm probably better than my wife, and the kids insist on it. So that's fine.
That's good then. Cool. Thanks a lot for your time. It's been a pleasure. If you had to choose 3 songs across your whole sort of repertoire and body of work that you say would sort of sum you up as an artist, what 3 would you choose?
I'm going to choose Ultravox's Lament. I will choose Dancing with Tears in My Eyes, and I'll choose Fragile, the title track of my new album, because it spans a lot of thought process and an awful lot of growing up.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot for your time. Anything else you'd like to say to Music News watchers?
I'm glad I'm still here.
Long may it last. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Cheers.